and share two things with you. The first is that a decision like this is a 100-year decision, and it is very critical that we get it right. And there's very few major projects in the history of this city that I've seen that haven't had reinvigoration in regards to discussion as to what we do next. The other thing I want to mention is that about 7-8 years ago, I was spending a half a day with Malcolm Holtzman. So you might ask, well, who's Malcolm Holtzman? Malcolm was the architect, the principal architect, who did the original Civic Center and is now the principal architect on the new music hall facility for the University of Wisconsin. And I was curious as to his opinion about the kinds of buildings and what might be done in regards to a public market, particularly because of his vast experience in adaptive reuse. So we drove around the city. We went to about a half a dozen sites. And one of the sites I wanted to show him was the shopping center on East Washington Avenue. And as we drove into the shopping center, he saw the city garage and he said, "What's that?" And I told him that that was and is the city garage. Well, before the day was out, he proclaimed that this was, without making a judgment on the economics, he made a recommendation basically that this was the best site. And the reason he selected it was because of the design of the building, the fact that we've got divisions, we've got a second floor in the middle, which he envisioned might become a dining area. And so then we went around the more scientific process of determining the best site for a market, which might be based on retail trends, population, and so on. And as you know, it came back to this side of this block and this site. We've been in discussions for a while now about placing the principal portion of the market on East Washington because of the added visibility that it would give us as a retailer. But it's turning out that the costs associated with that site is such that we're not going to get the kind of market we want. And I saw a commenter the other day talk about what was the need for another tourist site in Madison. And I want to be very clear about something, because clearly in that regard, for at least one person out of 250,000 in Madison, they didn't get the memo. They didn't get the message. I've personally seen 15 different markets in the United States in recent years. And it's very clear that they have different purposes. Some of them are designed to deliver high-end food. Others are designed to provide a luncheon site for business people. Others may combine those activities along with the notion of providing a tourist destination. And I've said from the very beginning, this market is designed to provide vegetables with dirt on them. We're talking about pulling carrots from the ground. We're talking about beets. We're talking about tomatoes that are affordable, along with the wonderful foods that are going to be prepared by those entrepreneurs who will be located here at this public market. So in case anyone is confused, this market is going to be more like the one in York, Pennsylvania than the French market in Chicago or Pike's Market in Seattle. This is going to be more like the Eastern Market in Cleveland or the Central Market in Detroit than it is going to be some fancy market located in a train station in Washington, D.C. The purpose of this market is to provide access at an affordable price of healthy food to the people of our community and to provide a retail outlet for people who assemble, produce, and prepare that food. And it's recognizing what made Madison the city it is. Madison, Wisconsin, besides being the state capital and the home of the University of Wisconsin, has always been a center for the vast agricultural lands that surround us and the wonderful, healthy food that is produced on those lands. Making the building affordable is critical. We cannot put our operators in a difficult position in regards to the cost of the space. We own this building, and that gives us a tremendous advantage. Structurally, this building is solid. It's got a long, healthy life ahead of it, and we intend to capitalize upon that. It provides us more space than does previous designs that were under consideration. It provides us access to parks across the way, and not just access in terms of the parks, but in terms of transportation. Obviously, it's accessible to motor vehicles, it's on bus lines, and it's adjacent to a bicycle path. We've got both the indoor use of this building as well as the very significant parking lot that's part of the property. We're going to have a great skilled architectural team that's going to come in here and will just simply add to the history of this city, taking old buildings with great history in terms of its role in the city of Madison, whether it's the Capitol Theater or the old federal courthouse, and again providing a significant contribution to not just the immediate neighborhood, but to our entire community. It adds to our inventory of sustainable facilities. Again, it's a site that's consistent with not just the original analysis and consultant recommendations, but with our objective to create here on the Near East Side a great hub for food. We're not far from the feed kitchens, and obviously we believe that this is going to re-energize food production within the city of Madison. For those of you who are familiar with the farmers market, particularly the Wednesday market, which is not as crowded downtown, we oftentimes see chefs with their wagons coming through the area, selecting fruits and vegetables that will be on the week's menu. We expect the same thing to happen at our public market. We've got a great team here. The citizens who've served on our committee the city staff, who's put in a considerable amount of time. And we look forward to early 2020 when we will start working on the reuse of this building and its opening the following year. So, we've got a great group of talented people here. I don't know anybody wants to say anything or available to answer questions. Who's going to be operating the market here? Who's going to be operating the food? Are you?
Well, I will personally at the foundation.
Well, why don't you tell us about that? Come on up. Let's have a shot.
Thank you. My name is Jamal Strickland. I am the chair of the Public Market Foundation Board, and we have been tasked with the operation of the market, running the market once it opens. We're hiring a director, and the director will then help facilitate, with the foundation's help, the running of the market. We expect a really vibrant space. The building here is wonderful. The idea is we want to create entrepreneurship around food. We want to create jobs in the food industry, but not just dishwashing jobs, actual jobs where people can actually have ownership of something. For a long time, we've realized that the communities of color, women, underserved communities have a lot to offer in terms of food production and in terms of food, their own personal food, their own food stories in this town. And those get not told as well. Well, this is a provide opportunity for people to have a place to start, have a leg up, and share their story with you, with the city of this town, their city. So I was looking at it as a tremendous opportunity. I've been to myself to many markets in the country, and all of them share the commonality of community. I think that's what we want to bring here to this wonderful little site here. So I'm anxious to get forward and move forward with it. So thank you for your time.
Anybody named Matt or Stan? George, want to say anything?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin.
Yes. Hi, I'm Suzanne Fanning, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, 90% of the milk that we produce goes into making cheese. So we are looking forward to having an incredible space to celebrate all the amazing cheeses, the people in the industry, and all of the dairy products that we make here in this wonderful state of Wisconsin. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Kennelly with the city's Economic Development Division and the city's project manager on the project. One thing that we want to emphasize is the public market building is really just the vessel for the type of activity that we want to create. One important piece of the project is the Market Ready program. For about the last year, the city and a team of community partners have been working with 30 entrepreneurs, a very diverse group that has been going through a training and technical assistance and small grant program to really prepare their businesses for the market. So over the next couple of years, while we move forward with designing and building the interior of this market, these entrepreneurs are using the Market Ready program and the future of the public market as a place to really pursue their dream of starting a food business in Madison. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah.
What precipitated the shift back to this location?
Principally cost. Principally cost and the opportunity that we would then have more space and, very frankly, far more interesting space in terms of design, in terms of architecture. When I visited other markets, at least in terms of looking at them, the older ones are the ones that are most interesting.
Do you have a number on those cost savings?
Pardon?
Do you have a number on the cost savings?
I don't. Anybody else got a number on savings? What we expect to reduce?
I think at this point we don't know until we move ahead with the design and updated cost estimates for the project. But I mean the key, one key difference is by repurposing an existing city-owned city facility that's already built and has great bones. we save ourselves the land cost of purchasing a parcel of property for the market, and we save kind of the baseline structure costs of building a building. We're reusing a city-owned 3.5-acre site that's in a great location, and we're reusing 45,000 square foot, really structurally sound building. So those two things will, will save, a lot of money on the project.
And I might point out, in this building, while a lot of rewiring and things of that sort will have to be done, the nature of this building in terms of access to power and to water is really unmatched. So that's one thing that'll work in our favor. Any other questions?
Will the wheat services need to be relocated?
And so they'll be relocated in, somebody give me who's got the timetable on? Mid-2020, they'll be in the new site on the east side. Yep. I don't know how these guys are going to feel about the relocation, but I know that everyone's going to be happy because for the purposes of dealing with fleet, this building's been in operation since the mid to late 50s, and we're really kind of cramped for that purpose, and a new facility has been long desired. Anything else? Cool. I know that some folks were on a tour. You got questions specifically about this building. You got staff here to answer it, and take in any questions that you've got. Thanks for being here.